Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Wristre Wednesday. My name is Brandon, the usual host. Today, what I wanted to talk about was something more and more that we've been seeing personally the past few months and more so the entire year of 2019. And what I'm going on right now about is online scams in the pre-owned timepiece world. So if you're watching this video, you're definitely interested in watches and more so pre-owned timepieces. And we primarily see these scams happening more so on websites like Craigslist, as well as eBay, and Facebook groups as well, believe it or not. So I wanted to share with you guys 4 tips that we use over at Wristre throughout every transaction that has helped us have hundreds of smooth transactions with maybe 1 or 2 questionable transactions. And at the end of the day, those 1 or 2 transactions were saved and we had no financial loss throughout those transactions because of these 4 tips. So the 4 tips I'm going on about is every watch deal that we have, we go out of the way to strike up a conversation that doesn't regard the actual sale of the watch as well with the seller. The second thing that we always do is we do a quick social media check and kind of like a little mini background check, but not too in depth on the actual person that we're doing the sale with too. Whether we found the person on the watch forums or we found the person on Facebook, if the person was on forums or eBay, we search their username up and we kind of just see what pops up. We ask them if they're on Facebook in that case. If it's on Facebook, then we'll look through their social media profiles and we'll just see really what's going on. The third thing that we do, and this we see gets skipped over a lot, which is definitely a large mistake, is that we ask for references on every sale. And I'll get into that in a minute. But the last thing that we do is we ask for photo identification next to a watch and a picture of all that with the date as well, handwritten out. So to start us off, I'll go from the actual, how it would look like if I was buying a watch, right? So say I find a watch online and I get in touch with the guy or the lady for that matter, and we start talking about the actual watch. I'm asking questions, everything's going good, and then we're having a conversation. So I strike up a conversation that isn't about the actual watch itself. So maybe it's where they're from, how long they've been into watches themselves as a hobby, and I try to just get a little personal into it, but not too much where it's like a weird pushy thing, just friendly conversation. And what I'm looking for here is, one, I'm looking to obviously meet new people and expand on network and meet new friends. But the main thing I'm looking for here, especially when I'm working with new people, is I want to see if this person is real or not. So it will definitely get better in time as you have these conversations. But once you're used to it, it's really easy to tell who really is kind of like not legit, in a sense, right? So you can have that conversation with someone, and I'm sure you've been in situations like this in the past, that you just have that little internal radar going ding, ding, something's wrong, red flags are getting raised if they're a little fishy and the conversation's going weird. So with that being said, while I'm negotiating the deal with the person, I'm also trying to have a conversation with them just about maybe where they live or anything like that we said, and I kind of just want to get the general vibe of that person. If everything's going good and I have really no red flags going off, the next thing I do is I start doing a little background check on them, and nothing too crazy like I said, but I'm going to try and head over to their Facebook page. I'll check that out. What I really want to see here is I want to see an actual Facebook page, right? So Facebook, social media, obviously. So I want to see this person putting up pictures with friends. They're making posts. They're interacting with other people. Like, it's actually someone who owns the Facebook account that is being used, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, as long as I know it's theirs, right? What I don't like to see here, and this is when another red flag will usually start to go up, is that the Facebook account was just created. Maybe there's one profile picture, there's no post at all, and it literally looks like a front, right? So at that point, I'm like, I've never seen this person before. I've never seen him around or her around on the internet making posts or commenting on stuff in the watch groups and whatnot. And now they have a deal that looks really good, and their Facebook page looks completely bare and almost like they were just created it and it's being used as a front, as well as maybe the conversation that we're having right now at the moment seems a little off, right? So these are just little red flags that can go up while looking for deals in the pre-owned timepiece market if you're going through private sellers and you're using like classified listings like Craigslist, eBay, or even Facebook for that regard, right? So the main thing that you need to remember when you're buying pre-owned timepieces is that anyone can put up or steal pictures from somebody else or put up stock images of a watch, write a description that looks good, and then bam, that's the perfect scam listing, right? So what you really need to be careful about is you need to be buying the person instead of the actual watch. And if it's too good to be true, obviously it most likely is, right? So that's the first two steps that we go through. And by this point, I usually have a general idea whether the person's legit or not. The next thing I do, and this is when I have a good feeling that everything's good so far, and just to let you know, if everything's not good so far, I'm walking away. I'm just going to find something else. But with that being said, if the deal is good, too good to pass up, I might entertain it a little longer. So once the deal is negotiated and the terms are they're finalized and we're both happy with it, then this is when I start to ask for references. So what is a reference? A reference is pretty much someone that I've done business with in the past who will vouch on my behalf that I provide good business and that either the watches I've sold them to were all in the condition that I said they were and that they were happy with the transaction, or say if I bought a watch off someone else that I provide fast payment and everything's in order. So I'm asking for someone else's references right now because if I don't know this person and if they ask me for my references too, I'd be more than happy to give them those. So the main thing to keep in mind is not everyone will have references, so that's where we're going to get with our fourth step. But if there's someone who frequents the buy and sell world of timepieces, or maybe they're a dealer or they're a reseller or they're a trader, they most likely will have references and they will be more than happy to provide those for you because they know how the game works as well. So I do follow up with my references as well, and this is something that we see a lot of people don't do. They just ask for references and they don't even bother reaching out. So I'll get a few references, I'll touch base with them, and I'll reach out, see how they've done business before, if everything worked good, and that everything's pretty good in a sense, right? So now I'm almost there. The deal is negotiated, it's finalized. The person that I'm talking to seems legit. The conversation that we had went well. Nothing really threw me off. Their social media profile checks out. They have references that have vouched for them. So now I'm ready to move on with the sale. So the next thing I do, and I don't always do this, the majority of the time I do though. So sometimes I won't do it depending on if I know the person or not. But if it's someone that I've never worked with before, I definitely do use this tip. So what the last thing that you're going to be doing is I ask for a picture of the watch, and I ask them to write out the date on an index card or a piece of paper, it doesn't matter, and I ask them to include their driver's license in the photo as well. And then this is really the make it or break it if this guy is just a really good scammer or everything's good and it's all legit, right? So what I'm doing with this picture, just so you can actually paint the picture in your head with it, is the watch is there. I'm getting proof of the actual watch. I'm getting proof that they have the watch because I'm having them take a picture of that watch with something that I asked them to write it on, as well as I'm getting their photo identification card, whether that's a driver's license or a student ID, whatever it is, but I'm getting an identification card with their picture and their name on it so that it can match up with what I'm seeing either A, on social media, the details that they gave me when they introduced themselves with their name, as well as the shipping address they have provided me that has to go on the label that matches their driver's license. And those might not always match up, obviously, with work, office, and all that stuff. But what I am just trying to make sure is that everything looks like it should. And these 4 tips have definitely saved us over hundreds of possible bad transactions, and it's gotten us to the point where almost every single transaction that we have, with the very rare few, go very smoothly. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to be buying watches private, and you have to remember too, these scammers out here, they go pretty in depth. I've heard crazy stories of people not even scamming watches in the sense of selling them, but I'm advertising a watch to you for polishing services, right? And then I have you send my watch in to get polished, and then the watch is gone. So they're going to this extent of these malicious attempts to take your hard-earned money. So you need to be very, very careful. But these 4 tips should generally keep you safe if you are going to partake in the pre-owned timepiece world, which I very much so love because I think it's fantastic. You can get watches off a steep discount of their original list, and you can buy them at prices where you can trade in and out of them, and they won't financially hurt you like it would buying a new watch, and maybe you're just collecting it. Whatever it is, it's definitely a nice market to be in. You can enjoy beautiful timepieces for great prices, but you definitely need to be safe. So if you're new to the game, or maybe you're not so new to the game, but you've had a few bad transactions in the past, I think incorporating these into how you do your deals or how you carry on your conversations and selling timepieces over the internet. It will keep everybody safe. It'll keep everybody happy. You have smooth transactions and you won't have anything to worry about. So with that being said, definitely be safe and have a lot of fun. And we'll see you guys on the newsletter, Coalition newsletter, on Sunday. If you're not in that, I always have the link down in the description below. And if not, we'll definitely see you guys back here for Wristre Wednesday next week. So have a good one, guys.